Hey everybody, it's Marvin. I'm going to go over the coolant lines, oil lines, vacuum lines for a turbo setup on the Spyder. Okay, for the coolant lines, you want to take this line here, going to the block. You want to intercept it here. I think it's a 5/8 inch, by the way. Well, you need to step it down going through the turbo. The turbo gets fed on the sides. Left or right doesn't matter, and what happens is when it comes out the other side, it needs to go back in, and this is where it normally goes back into. So those are the two lines side by side, these two that I'm touching. Those are the coolant lines. For the oil lines, let me get under the car. Little T-fitting right there, and what you want to do is you want to intercept it with a small, I think it's a -4 line. So you go from the filter and you run it back up, and what you want to do is you want to go back to the top of the turbo, because it'll be feeding it, it'll have pressure, and it'll go to the very top. And you're going to need an AN fitting to go back onto the turbo, and then when it drains, it'll be a larger diameter, but it needs to be the one on the bottom of the turbo, and it'll drain, if you have a MR2, to the top of the pan so it can fill, and then you can drain from the bottom. That's the oil lines. The vacuum lines are trickier. If you have internal wastegate, there should be, I've seen them on a GT2560, there's usually a bolt somewhere right off the compressor discharge that has a fitting for the, anyways, it goes back to the internal wastegate. So you just plumb the turbo back up to itself in a sense. If you have external, well, for instance on mine, I don't have that fitting, so I just take a line right off the discharge. I made a fitting, and I go to the I go to my boost controller on the COM port, and then this one here, I got one from my wastegate also going to the normally closed port for external. For vacuum lines also, you want to have this one vented to atmosphere, because if you don't, this is releasing your crankcase. This one normally ties back in here. So there's three areas that you can get readings from. Well, so you close that one off, because this one attached to that one, so you cap it off. Then you want to get your boost readings from one behind it. It's a smaller line. It's this blue one right here. I try to have all my vacuum lines a different color. I don't know if you can see it. I see it right there. And then, so you get all your vacuum readings from there. Blow off valve, etc. Boost controller. I have them all come. All my vacuum lines are sourced from that one area. They just tee off right here actually. I have it disconnected now for what I'm doing. There's another one further back there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's much further back there by the intake manifold. I have that one capped off also. That one came from the PCV valve right here. You can leave that connected, but I just took it off. It just made it cleaner, a lot less lines. You see it's oily, I need to clean it. And the only other thing I can think of is there was a evap for passing emissions. Where is it? I'm trying to find it. It's this one right here. This one used to be connected to intake stock. You need to have a vacuum line, and you need to send it back to your intake right before the turbo. So here's the one going back to the turbo. So this is just vacuum. It doesn't need to see boost. That'll be a bad thing. So you just run it back into it. Put a little bung in there somewhere. I have it. There's my little bung right there. And that should clear it. If you have any questions, just ask.